Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am so excited because I've got Lewis here and we are going to talk about Return to Dark Tower. This is a review and it's going to be the things that we like about this game. So thanks for joining us. I've got it set up on the table right here. You're also going to catch some closer up and action shots of us while we played our second game of Return to Dark Tower. Yes. But the first thing that I want to do is actually ask Lewis to tell just a little bit about why he backed this game on Kickstarter, kind of what got him interested in this game to get us started, because I'm really excited to talk about this and jump into the stuff that we like. So what grabbed your attention from the start with Return to Dark Tower?
Well, this is a game that came out, Dark Tower is a game that came out years and years ago, and I never played it. I never got a chance to play it back in the day. And so when Restoration Games announced that they were doing a revamp of the game, I got really excited. They've done other games that I've liked a lot. Downforce is an example of a restored game that's just fantastic. I watched a few of their Kickstarter videos and saw what people were looking at. And I also noticed that the names involved in the game design this time around, it wasn't going to be just the same old-fashioned game, but they were bringing in some really sharp designers, Rob Davio, Isaac Childress, a number of other great designers. And so all that combined, I thought, I have to get in on this. It looked really cool. And it's kind of my style of game, too. An epic adventure where you get to battle a bad guy. And because there's a cooperative version, in fact that's the main way to play, that's how we've played, it ticked all the boxes for me, so that's why I went with it. Yeah,
I have to say that when this arrived and Lewis was unpacking it, I thought this is like a classic Lewis game. Yeah. Absolutely. So I think you're going to notice right off, this is one of the main features of the game. This is like the Dark Tower. It is a hefty technological device. It is a smart device.
Yes.
So it pairs with your app, whatever kind of tablet or device you're using. You absolutely have to have the app to play this.
You need an app that has a device that has a Bluetooth capability, and I would recommend maybe a bigger device because you're going to be sharing this with everyone at the table, and so if one person's looking at a phone, that may not have the same connection for you.
Right. We use the iPad, and just make sure you keep it plugged in. Ours kept draining pretty rapidly, but keep it plugged in and you're good to go for the duration of your game, which for us ran from 1.5 hours to just a little bit over 2. And the one that was over 2 was our first game. It took us a little bit longer just to do everything and to make our decisions. The second time through, things went faster, smoother. We knew what we were doing, generally speaking, and everything just happened a lot faster.
Right.
So just kind of bank in 1.5 to 2 hours to play the game, which is really, it goes by fast. I mean, that's one of the things I like a lot about this. And the app and this device, really, really cool and a huge focal point of the game. It's exciting. The thing I want to jump into first is maybe just talk about this. There are so many things to like about this particular tower. It does a lot of functions.
It does. It has multiple levels. And there's doors that cover some of the levels that you'll be instructed to remove as the game progresses.
It's me! It's right here.
Is it the low one?
It's the low one, yeah. Okay. Nothing came flying out at me. So we take the door and we set the door. Over here.
Oh, the door. And sometimes these devilish skulls will fall out of those doors. And the levels rotate, and my favorite thing about it is at the end of every person's turn, you have to drop a little skull into the top.
Yeah.
You have these little skulls. And the device knows, the app knows that when you drop a skull in, that you're saying, my turn is over. And so then you'll get events, you'll get changes, new monsters will arrive, and it will instruct you on all the things you need to do.
Okay, so That's my turn. I went through all of my actions, and now I get to drop a skull into the tower. So I will take this skull, and I will... Is it ready for me?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. It just ate up the skull.
Just ate it up. Then the next person goes, and when they're done, they'll drop in a skull, and again, new things will happen. And so that's a really cool way to interact with the device rather than hitting a button that says, end my turn.
Yeah.
You do this physical thing where you drop a skull in, and sometimes they come out and you have to put them...
Yeah,
oh, it's great.
You can hear it like tinker down in there, and every time it alerts you that the tower's about to shift and move and twist. It's like, keep your fingers clear. But you see it. You can actually see with the open windows as you continue to progress through the game. More of these windows are revealed. More of these symbols are shown. There are restrictions that prevent players from doing certain actions without an added cost.
There it goes. Oh.
What?
Stayed open.
It stayed open on me too.
It did a double loop.
It did a double loop. A seal is broken.
Oh,
it's
no.
about to light up. Oh, it's this one. Woo!
So there is a seal showing here. If there was a player on the south, they would have to deal with that.
So you can still do it, but it makes it just a little bit harder to do.
Right.
And you just, I don't know, like it's just such a fun tactile and auditory experience. The tower also makes a lot of noise whenever you fight beasts and monsters.
Every time,
it'll roar.
Every time we went to fight a monster, the tower would go roar, really, and Kim would go ah every time.
And I'm going to fight or battle for my heroic action.
Okay.
So let's see what what happens. I push this button.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to select the Undead Melee Oryx. Jesus. Battle.
I mean, I don't know that you ever got used to the monster
No, because I was
roars.
always leaning forward to look at the iPad, and as I leaned forward, my face was really close to the tower, and then it would always scare me every time.
Right.
But yeah, the monsters actually do make different sounds, I believe, based on their particular, type of fighting and creature that they are. But this tower is just really cool. And I love the skulls too. Lewis mentioned you drop the skull in, but at any point, one or many skulls will fly out of these holes that you have created, these windows. And now I drop a skull.
Yes.
Ah! I'm not happy. And as they fall into these areas, these kingdoms, you will then place the skulls into buildings. And buildings can only have 3 skulls, and if they take more than that, they are removed from the game. And if it's in your home kingdom, you receive a corruption. And every player gets one of the 4 kingdoms as their home base. And corruption can be just really devastating, or in some cases it can be, mitigated, or it can be, dealt with. Because I looked through the deck, and every single corruption card is different. There's no repeated corruptions, which I think is really cool. I also talk about them lightly because I've never received a corruption.
I've gotten a few.
He's gotten a few.
I've gotten corrupted a few times.
One each game. I guess I just try really hard not to get corrupted.
Sure.
I know.
I try hard too, but somehow I still get corrupted. Corruption cards are, they're a penalty that your character has to deal with, and if you can have up to 2. If you ever get a 3rd, you immediately lose the game.
Yeah,
everyone loses.
A serious way to lose the game.
But you can go to the Sanctuary, which is one of the 4 buildings in each section, and pay Spirit to get rid of your corruption.
Yeah.
So there's an opportunity to deal with it, especially if it's too onerous and just problematic for you.
Another way to end the game and lose together is if you run out of skulls. And so if you have not been going through the kingdoms and cleansing, which means that you're going to a particular location and you are clearing all of the skulls from that particular area. So it has a multi-purpose. You're preventing that 4th or more of those skulls from clearing the area and adding corruption to a player, but you're also keeping that building alive so you can actually go there and do the action because you can reinforce. And this is all part of your turn, which I think is the next thing we want to talk about because we really like the way every player does their turn.
Yeah.
It's actually clean, easy, and just enjoyable. Mostly because you don't get to do everything that you want to do. And that's one of the reasons we like it.
That's true. So you'll always have a character, and they have these great little character sheets with some art, but they have a lovely column that tells you all the things that you do on your turn.
It's like your personal player aid card.
Right, and it's a player aid card, but it's very clear, so you're never confused as to, wait, what does this building do? Oh, if I go that, you can just look at your card and see exactly what you're doing. You also have special abilities that are called virtues on the side, and each character is different. And it's just so easy to manage, and yet every character feels different. Mm-hmm. You go through the steps, and then you know when your turn's over. All really easy. There's so much to do. This is what I was saying. This is what Kim was saying. On your turn, you might say, well, I could cleanse this tower of the evil skulls.
Because we're running out of skulls.
Because we need to get those skulls.
That's really packed.
Or I could go fight this monster, this Auric here, and get rid of them because they're getting stronger every time that we leave them alone. Or I could go over and resolve this quest, because if we don't resolve the quest before the end of the month, we'll lose it and a bad thing will happen. So you have all these great choices. And no matter what you do, you feel really good about it. Yes, I beat the monster. And you also feel like, but I still have these other things I need to do. And so every turn you're doing something exciting, you're doing something great, and yet you always feel like, I need one more turn to do more.
I will select 2 cards.
Because they're level 2.
Lose 2 warriors for each skull on or adjacent to your space.
You have 0 skulls on or adjacent to your space.
I have 0 skulls.
This isn't adjacent.
It's not adjacent. And because the next one might be really bad, I'm going to save my 2 advantages for that one and just max it.
Use them both.
Yep, and then use it both. Okay, so I'm not going to resolve, and I don't have to do anything, it's resolved. So I will confirm.
Continue, yeah.
Lose 2 warriors for each skull on or adjacent to your space. Now, that's the same card as last time, which is really good for us, but
use your advantages.
we will use the advantages. Last time we did not use them. Gain 3 warriors. Fantastic. So, I will confirm that I spent my 2 advantages. We have defeated the Aurex. Remove the token. Continue. Well, that was a pretty successful first turn.
Since you did a heroic action, which was a battle, you gained 2 mystic energy.
Spirit. Yeah, and it does feel like they've streamlined and maximize the idea of a major action and a minor action. Mm-hmm. Because your major action are going to be your heroic actions, the 3 that Lewis just mentioned, and those are the really big ones. Those are the ones you want to do so many of in one turn, yet you get to do just one. And then you get these reinforce actions, and those are based on the locations, the buildings that are in each kingdom, and those are smaller actions, they're minor, but they help you do the other things.
Right.
And every single month, you don't know how many turns you get, and that is run by the app, and that's just another cool feature. There is a timeline, there's like a countdown, and you're not exactly sure how much time you get to complete the quests. And each month you get a quest that is for a companion, which is a positive quest. And then there's a quest that you have to go and defeat a minor adversary or prevent some really bad damage from happening that's controlled by the major baddie in the game.
Right.
And it's just the coolest. And Lewis mentioned, every month. There are 6 months if you don't defeat the final quest, if you don't kill the big baddie who's in the tower running everything. By the end of the 6th month, your team fails. But we have just enjoyed a 2-player game of this back and forth. Now this goes from 1 to 4 players, and I think that's one of the things I'm looking forward to the most, is playing it either solo or playing it with our groups of friends, where we can play with 3 or with 4 characters, just to see how it plays and just to feel the different dynamic of playing with all the characters or how long it takes to get from your turn to your next turn. Because in a 2-player game, it's pretty fast, and you're excited, and you say, well, I'll do this, and then you'll do that, and then I'll come back around, and then you'll do the heroic quest to do the thing. And then half the time what happened was we planned to go somewhere, and then the month would end, and it would just be screams and shouts of us going, no!
I do agree with you that with 2 players, the timing is great. I suspect with 1 player, it'll be a lot of fun because, the app will tell you what to do, but then you'll always get to go. I'm interested to try it with 3 and 4. I wonder if 4 players, it might take so long to come around that, even though you'll be interested in what's happening on the board, maybe plans that you set at the end of your turn will become irrelevant by the time it comes back around. It's hard to know.
Maybe. I mean, perhaps it's just the app understands, it asks you in the beginning how many players you're playing with, so it knows how to time things and how to pace things. I found it very enjoyable that the game grew with us. It starts you off with all the windows on and with just 2 skulls in 2 buildings of each area. And as the game continues, it keeps adding these fighters. We had Titans, Frost Trolls, and Oryx in our last game. And it keeps adding those and developing those and accelerating their decks to make them, and I think, what was it, savage and then deadly.
It makes them more dangerous.
Yeah, so it makes them, a little bit more frenzied. And so as the game continues, it keeps getting harder and harder and harder. And the doors keep opening and more things keep popping out and more restrictions show up. So the game really is balanced. So I imagine it should be balanced to a 3 or 4 player game, but it would be really great to try it out that way.
One of the things you mentioned, Kim, is that there are a number of monsters. So like last game, we played with Oryx. In the first game, our level 2 monster was Brigands. But there's also Spine Fiends and Shadow Wolves. Each time you play a game, you have a choice between 4 monsters per level. So you can mix and match different monster combinations, and I think that could be really exciting too. Seeing what the different monsters are like, how to deal with them, and then combining your character's talents and trying to work together to defeat different types of monsters.
I will say that each of our 2 games played very differently. The rules are the same, the pacing is the same, and the flavor obviously is the same, but they just felt different. We had very different outcomes and different goals in those quests that we had, and we've picked all different monsters so that we would have a different feel. And we've played all 4 of the characters now. We picked 2 the first time. We played Spymaster and the Orphan Scion, and then we played the Relic Hunter paired with the Brutal Warlord for the second game. And both of those characters, I felt, were very different and unique and interesting and had a flair that I appreciated.
Well, and in our first game, our quest was to find certain treasures. And so we were constantly digging through this treasure deck, trying to get the exact treasures we needed for our quest. Our second time we played, we needed to gather an army of 100 warriors. And so we didn't spend nearly the time at the treasure deck. We still got 1 or 2 because the treasure cards are pretty great.
Treasure cards are great.
But we were always trying to gather up soldiers and get some gear to help, the army work. It had a very different feel, and there are, 6 different quests, 6 different bad guys to deal with? I mean, there's a lot of versatility here, and this is the kind of game that I feel like I want to go back to and try again, try different things. And even though it's epic, even though it's a big game where you're traveling across the land, fighting monsters, leveling up, trying to defeat the big thing, we finished our game in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like, we got to the end and I thought, oh, we could just play this again.
And setup took 5 minutes.
Oh, setup's so easy.
You get the app open and it just jumps you straight into the game. You select the baddies you're fighting, and you just go. You just start. They say go. And in month 1, every player gets 1 turn, and then the month is over, and then they introduce all of the cool quests and things. So they give you a chance to do 1 thing before they just throw you into the mess.
And it looks like there's a lot on the table, and there is, but the box comes with these insets,
Yeah.
and it's very well organized. So when you need the pieces, you just pull them out of their area and set them down. You need the cards, you just pull them out of their area, spread them out. It's so easy to set up and then tear down.
Yeah, I think I'll leave you with the last is whenever you reset the tower, make sure you turn it off after you're finished because there is an on and off button. And make sure you get all the skulls out of there because there might be some hiding in there, much like a cube tower. There's little nooks and crannies.
It's easy to get them out. You just check behind all the doors.
Yeah, you just check the doors. It's not like they're stuck anywhere. It's just that they're in there. You don't want your next game to be seeded with skulls that shouldn't be there. Which meant, I know you're going to mention that, aren't you?
What?
Make sure that the app is ready for you to drop your skull at the end of your
yeah.
turn, that it's not on a page that was the previous page of some kind of event. Twice, Lewis dropped a skull down before the
I'd
next
hit
page
continue.
was, to push continue. And the first time the skull just went in and disappeared. We were like, uh-oh, there's an extra skull in there that shouldn't be in there. And then the second time, it just kind of popped out of a window, which meant that we could grab it, push the next page, and then drop the skull again.
Right.
But that's not a big issue at all. It's very fixable, and or you just made the game a little bit harder on you, which, oh well, you know?
I would say actually there is one other issue, which is not an issue, but it is. This tower is so big,
Yeah.
you can't see that side of the board.
You really can't. A seal is broken. A seal is about to light up to show it should be removed.
I think it's on my side.
It's on your side?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, and a
Oh,
skull
no!
just fell out.
Ah!
Unless you just crank your head.
And you
But
still can't see
especially if it's right on the edge.
the regions.
It's very hard to. I mean, you just can't. It's a massive
It
brick
is.
that's in the middle of the table,
Yeah.
and so you kind of have to trust the other person. Like, hey, are you keeping things clean over there? Getting all those monsters?
Yeah, you gotta rely on your fellow players to keep track of the side that they're on, just to let you know if there's any stuff they should be worried about.
There it goes. It's rotating. Oh.
Did you get a block?
No, it's open.
I saw a block go by, but now
Me
it's an
too.
open hole.
Either that or be
or
able to
just
stand
stand
up.
up, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too with the tower, when it tells you to remove a window, it will light up red on the bottom, the
Down
base
here.
of it, on the side that they want you to take it off of.
So you'll know it's
And
this side.
then they will light up the color of red behind one of the windows. And so you have to make sure that you look straight on, like get to the side that they're telling you to,
Right.
and check to see which window it is to open so that you open the correct window.
Right, because the first time it was blinking down here, I was like, oh, it must be this door. And I started going, and then Kim was like, no, actually, this window up here is lighting up. And,
Right.
and because I was looking at it from the side, I was only noticing the side lights. So you do need to look for that as well.
But it's, just make sure. That's all.
Just getting used to the tower. It's not... I mean, it's such a cool thing. It's
a
so
really cool
big and
thing.
so cool
Yeah.
that I think as a toy, this is a cool idea for a game. And I think little kids would walk by the table and go, what is that? But
Or big kids.
I think as a big kid,
Yeah.
it's actually a fun game. I really had a good time. And the second time we played, there was this part of me that thought, is it going to be as fun the second time around because it is such an epic game and everything? Or was I just excited because of that new first time trying all the new things? I had more fun the second time when I knew what I was doing. So I think this game has some real staying power.
Yeah, and I think that's important. That's a really good comment to make, that it's not just a grab your attention, first time through is exciting, and after that, it never really lives up to it. I do think that the game will keep being exciting and fresh because we're still figuring out, we're still playing new characters, we're playing new opponents, we're playing new baddies that function very differently. They do. Grave Maw, as our major baddie, did not do the same things that our guy from last time did. I forget who the guy from last time was. But it was really exciting and surprising. I was shocked. I mean, I don't want to reveal any secrets about the way they play, but Ash Strider
Strider.
did some things very different. They play differently, and the good thing about it is you don't have to do it. No one runs the baddies. The app does. It tells you what to do, and it does this automatic card, shuffling and card, acceleration, all the stuff automatically. And that makes the game so much fun for all the players. We get to be the heroes. We get to work together.
Drop in a skull. I'm going to clean that next time if possible.
My side.
Wow, they are coming out.
And I do like that cooperation. It is just loads of fun. I'm going to second Lewis. It's fun, and guess what? It's fun the next time you do it. And probably, I'm going to assume,
let's hope, the
time after that. And again, we're excited to bring in some of our friends whenever we get to playing face-to-face, and so that will just be a delight.
Yes.
So I'm really looking forward to it.
That was great.
No, I really was excited to have Lewis here to share his point of view, because we have played this game together and experienced it together, and while I might have things I like, I always love hearing what Lewis thinks about these games, and more particularly because he's the one that got to share this with me, and it was his initial excitement about Return to Dark Tower that got me excited about Return to Dark Tower. So if you can get your hands on a copy of this, or play because you've got a really cool friend, definitely give it a try, and let me know what you think in the comments. This is just a really exciting, fun game. Alright, we'll catch you next time.